just another day where anime directors, people working in the anime industry, are literally having mental breakdowns, saying, tears won't stop and I can't draw. The countdown to despair has begun for 100 girlfriends, and it is kind of like there's a twisted level of gap moe happening here, considering what kind of anime the 100 girlfriends is. Such a bizarre, funny, non-serious show. We're just having good times, but at the sake of human slavery. Chibi, give it to us.
Girlfriend's anime's character designer Akane Yano breaks down on Twitter saying, tears won't stop and
Jesus.
I can't draw, and then says the countdown of despair has begun, implying that the production conditions behind the scenes are very bad.
What is the despair? Is this talking about basically just animation workers just becoming super, super depressed and tired and basically just quitting? They talking about the anime production itself just like collapsing? Are there going to be delays happening with this show? I got no clue.
And if you click on this links to, like, the Twitter post where this was posted, and if you take a look at the timestamps, it was basically yesterday when this happened,
Damn.
and some of the tweets, which I have, actually posted on my post earlier today, was late, last night as well, for this actual character designer that's working on 100 Girlfriends Season 2. So, let's talk about this. Well, let's be honest, this isn't the first time we have seen animators, speak out about poor conditions.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. Remember that? People at MAPPA, they were literally having a mental breakdown there too. Like people, like multiple people tweeting saying like, this is fucked up. The working conditions, this is actually messed up. We can't, this is not sustainable at all. This is again, just the unfortunate reality that is the anime industry, where most people don't really care, right? The consumers don't really give a fuck, because I guarantee you, if 100 Girlfriends anime was delayed or went on hiatus in order to give people more time to adequately, create a good product while not sacrificing work-life balance, the consumers themselves would immediately shit on the animators, saying they're lazy. They don't even understand the fucked up system that is with the production committee. You know how we do the resource allocation, the budgeting, the time schedule, which is the most important part, right? And most people just want the content, so they'll never be able to empathize with this, and it's just like, nothing will change
at the workplace for these different animation studios. I mean, MAPPA is a very good example, but obviously it's not just MAPPA. In this situation right here basically showcases that. It's not just, let's say, a Studio MAPPA issue. It is a just sweeping industry problem with animators being mistreated, overused to the point to where they just don't want to work in the industry anymore. And then, these...
What is the studio, actually? Let's check it out. So I got the annual list pulled up here. And if I look at the studios, Biburi Animation Studios. Actually, never heard of them. They're working on Grisaia as well, which is happening right now. Okay. I see. So this is the oh, they did Quintessence Quintuplets. We're actually watching that right now. Biburi, yeah, we should look at the producers too, but just wanted to look at like what's Biburi all about? What kind of like, animes have they worked on? So Quintessential Quintuplets, they've worked on it. We look at the producers, yeah. Basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 producers. Why? Because it's very rare that you have one producer, right? You need like multiple producers to get all on board to kind of like, basically like invest on the show together, because it's just like a risk tolerance, right? The more people that you can diversify the budgeting, I guess, and the resource management, the less of an L you'll take if it actually collapses. So I see Bandai Namco Filmworks, and you know what they're known for? These dudes would literally were on the, production committee for Tower of God and Blue Lock as well. Yeah, of course, the story is here too. And there's like a difference between like them being producers versus them being studio, I guess. But Bandai Namco Filmworks is quite the infamous name that I've been picking up recently. Whenever there is smoke, there's fire. And the smoke is Tower of God, or like, let's say Blue Lock. And what's the fire? Bandai Namco.
Actual bigwigs, these CEOs, these higher-ups, they wonder to themselves, like, why is there such a shortage of animators? They wonder to themselves, like, why are we not getting enough animators for our different studios? Why are we
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder why people wouldn't work for a salary of $30 USD per month, bro, slaving away. Wonder why people would work, people don't want to work, basically 25 hours a day to make less than a fucking like a convenience store worker.
Having to outsource our products so much to China or Korea or different places around the world just to be able to get an anime episode out. Well, this is one of those big reasons. When you mistreat your employees, you mistreat the people that work for your company so much, eventually you're going to scare people off. They're either going to stop working for you, they're going to tell people through word of mouth that, you're just a very bad company, and they don't, they say, like, you shouldn't work for them, and it's going to spread, and then people are not going to find it worth it.
And here's the really fucked up but interesting thing. I'll bring up the case with Amazon again, because sometimes, even if you mistreat your workers, if the pay actually justifies the abuse, people will choose to work there. Like the average the average like a software engineer, like entry grad role in Canada, I believe the salaries around the base compensation could be around like $120,000 roughly. In America, it could be more, just basically scale that up. Because the market rates at these top tier companies are so fucking high, they fully enter the slaughterhouse knowing they're gonna get abused. But in the animation industry, it's different. It's not the same way at all. In the animation industry, you get shit pay and shit working conditions.
I feel like a lot of people within Japan, they probably hear about these horror stories of, these jobs being an animator and stuff and how it's very low pay, a lot of hours, you're not treated right, you're basically treated like almost a slave pretty much. You are. It's very clear why, there is just an overall issue, why they are losing animators back to back, multiple different studios are. But getting into the main central focus here, 100 Girlfriends and Akane Yano, and how they are currently basically distressed and talking about the countdown of despair has begun, what's going on here? Well, I'm going to be honest.
Akane Yano. Akane Yano. Songjin Wo!
With you. I don't know too much about this.
If you got that reference, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed if you got that reference of what I'm trying to do right now.
This individual, I know they have worked on quite a few projects in the past, which, I'll pull it up here. They have worked on 100 Girlfriends, as you can see here. They worked on Prima Doll. They worked on Jaku. They've worked on Goblin Slayer. They've been in the industry for a pretty good long while. I mean,
yeah,
you can trace this all
Nisekoi.
the way back to basically 2013 when they started really working on
Black
stuff.
Butler.
And they have definitely worked on some pretty good shows that I have watched and I have
got Monogatari series. These are some insane titles, I think. Even Idolmaster here too.
Legitimately enjoyed. So they aren't necessarily someone that is like, small-time animator. They are very well known in the industry. Maybe not massively known, but they still are someone that has
veteran
quite a portfolio in the anime industry and have done a very good job. I mean, they have definitely done a very good job with the character designs for 100 Girlfriends for Season 1, because as you can see, they also worked as the character designer for Season 1. They were even the chief animation director and a key animator of Episode 1 and 3.
She's the real deal.
100 Girlfriends Season 1, which were legitimately amazing episodes. So we fast forward to Season 2. Obviously, they picked up their role once again for being a character designer of the show, but also the chief animation director. So when you see posts like this from a chief animation director, obviously talking about the project they're currently working on, I mean,
it's pretty bad, right? I'm not saying like if other lower level employees were complaining on Twitter that it wouldn't be just as bad, but if someone in that kind of position is making tweets like this saying the countdown to despair has begun, I don't want to know what's going on happening behind the scenes. It's probably so depressing.
You can literally see it in their banner on their profile. It's very clear that they're talking about 100 Girlfriends. It's just there's no other way to really take it. The countdown to doom and all that, the despair and stuff. It's very clear they're talking about the show that is set to air. Now, here's the thing. At first glance, when you look at 100 Girlfriends, it doesn't appear to have any issues. I mean, like the
Season 1 and the trailers, right? Yeah, the quality is there. There's nothing that was like, oh shit, something is slipping.
Trailers and stuff has looked really solid. There is nothing that really indicates any issues whatsoever. I mean, when you look at, let's say, what I covered yesterday with, like, Sakamoto Days, obviously there's indication that there could theoretically be some issues, but once...
I wonder if Sakamoto Days is really going to be just bombing. A lot of people are just creating so much controversy regarding how mid the fight scenes are compared to, I guess, what the manga's expectations are. I'm pretty excited to find out. It's going to be some drama time for that show.
Once again, the first episode hasn't come out yet, but when you take a look at 100 Girlfriends, overall, everyone that's talked about the show so far, season 1 to now the stuff that we've seen so far of season 2, it's been relatively positive. There's been basically no negativity around it, besides just this that came out literally this morning. There's been nothing. It's been...
It means that they've done a really great job hiding, you know, all the pain and the suffering. They just been working so fucking hard, and they're creating polished, you know, products. The quality is there, but at the cost of basically their mental health. And now it's just like the tipping point. So, I mean, again, this isn't new.
Basically sweeping positivity. People love the songs, people love the voice acting we've seen so far, the visual department. So seeing this, it's just like concerning, because it's like, is there going to be issues that's going to arise and appear while the season's coming out? Because it's like, maybe the first 2 episodes, maybe even the first 3 episodes will look pretty good, but then the quality will slowly spiral, and it'll spiral out of control, where it might have to get delayed, it might have to be pushed back, it might just have a complete breakdown to where maybe the art animation has to be sacrificed just to be able to get the episodes out. Looking at you, Blue Lock, there's a lot of examples of what theoretically could go wrong, and I feel bad for a variety of individuals that are associated with this project, because obviously when you have the chief animation director,
could it possibly also be about the storyline for one of the girls? Dude, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Hold the fuck up. If you read this tweet word for word, exactly, is this good marketing? Wait a minute. Wait. Tears won't stop and I can't draw. Maybe one of our favorite girls is not, you know, it's including the arc, and like the story arc of that one is very tragic. The countdown to despair has begun. The despair for her favorite character girl. Dude, oh my god. And here's another thing. I mean, we've had the situation in Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Over at MAPPA. And I was actually shocked to find out that there was this like freedom to tweet, you know, such negative things about the working conditions and the project that you're working for. I thought that there would be some sort of like, you gotta sign an NDA. You gotta sign something that, you know, legally like contracts you from speaking out against the horrors of the working conditions. So when, you know, animators and directors come out and tweeted all that shit, I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're free to, you know, express their opinions, right? So it's not as if like, I was just basically using that example to make the point that like, doesn't it seem weird that an animation director would just come out and start fucking just like popping off like this? But no, we've seen that example happen in the past before, but the phrasing of this, dude, the countdown to despair has begun is such a chuny line. You know, like maybe that girl is just chuny. You know, maybe I'm judging too hard, but now that I'm really thinking about this, it's really seeming like this is just a marketing ploy. That her favorite arc, right? Her favorite character loses or something like bad or tragic happens. I don't know, but like I fingers crossed that this is actually the case and it's not crazy working conditions that's fucking up over there.
Basically making statements like this, that's a big red flag. That is not a small flag. This is...
I want to be able to buy time from people who say they have free time. Now that is more like, please, I want to be freed from this project. I'm chained down. There is literally no freedom. I'm working way too much and I just want that freedom. So now tweets like this is kind of countering our schizo conspiracy, right?
Isn't like a little blip. This is a huge flag that needs to be taken notice of and talked about, because it's like when you have someone that's just so high up in the pecking order for this project, obviously they're not like a CEO, they're not the production committee.
Wait. What about I'm doing too much mental gymnastics, but I really want to try to think from a perspective of, you know, brilliant marketing. What if she's just saying this because she's busy crying too much because the story is so peak and she wants more time to actually, you know, work on this project because she's just too emotionally engaged to the story. her favorite character is losing or winning. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm trying to really reach right now, try to make sense of this.
But when there are a chief animation director saying this, that's not good at all. So, what can be done? Well, I've talked about this a lot over the years.
Nothing can be done. Genuinely, nothing will change if nothing changes. What needs to happen is a fundamental rehaul of the industry. And this is an extreme thing that will never happen. The production committees needs to realize that everyone is boycotting anime. And once that happens, maybe like literally and there needs to be a unionization from the actual workers, because if the consumers all boycotted and they said, all right, pay your workers more, what does that really mean? I guess like the rates, because like most animators, they get paid per cut, right? I know that there's some salaried workers here and there, but that's very rare. Most people just get paid per cut. So like you need to have leverage. You need to have leverage to be able to negotiate for higher rates per cut. But not even just that, you also have to think about, can we have more adequate time schedules for these shows to be made properly without sacrificing ourselves? And that will never happen because the people in power don't respect the people demanding these shit. Why would they listen? Genuinely, no, think about it. Stop thinking about from this naive, idealistic, rainbows and sunshines land where everyone gets paid well and anime is all UFO tables, quality. That's not gonna happen. Think from the business suits perspective. Why would they give a fuck? They can continue to whip these slaves into working and to pump out anime while taking all the money, right? The workers have no fucking leverage. And because of that, nothing will change.
Talked about, animators being mistreated and how they're not, paid enough and all this type of stuff. I talked about this until basically I've been blue in the face. It is something that fundamentally is eventually going to have to be changed. It's going to be a long time until it probably does, but I think before anything is truthfully changed, it's going to get much worse before it changes. Like, there's probably going to be systematically complete destruction of maybe a lot of projects in anime just coming crashing down and having complete production meltdowns before things are truly ever changed.
And here's a very negative, aspect of this too, because with the advent of AI, and who knows how much, AI will continue to like grow, right? Technology grows at an exponential rate. If you've seen like Will Smith eating fucking spaghetti a couple of years ago, it looks so bad. You look at the new AI, video generators now, it's looking pretty good. It's going to continue to get better and better and better. If there is an implosion of the anime industry and all the animators say, fuck it, we're leaving, I could totally see a dystopian future where the corporate suits are like, all right, let's just, you just use AI technology and just try to, make anime the best we can with less people, right? So there's that aspect too, which is pretty concerning for the future.
I mean, one studio in particular that tries to rise to the challenge and has bettered their employees a lot
KyoAni.
is, KyoAni. I mean, they've always gotten praise from the anime community and the anime industry on how they treat people, and I feel like, this type of stuff obviously is the more normal instead of what happens with KyoAni, where they actually treat their employees right. And I think that before any...
It's so sad, man. Like, that shouldn't be the exception, right? That should be the literal standard. I mean, fuck, we have a literal isekai this season of anime called Headhunted to Another World, where the power fantasy is the employee being treated well and being recognized for their work. That's the power fantasy. Isn't that fucking sad?
Anything ever fixes itself and before animators can actually get better pay and better treatment, it just, the whole culture of just the way this stuff is done has to actually fundamentally shift. There has to be probably laws put in place in Japan to really back these animators up and employees and stuff.
Yes.
Not to be...
We need stronger workers' rights. If there isn't strong, labor right movements happening, then the people in power will do whatever the fuck they want with their workers. And it's just like the unionization aspect, I'm not sure if that's ever going to happen in Japan.
Treated as badly as they're done, but also try to incentivize to be an animator and feel like it's actually worth it in the end. But getting back into the main point with Akane Yano, I feel incredibly
Akane Yano, Sung Jin Woo,
devastated seeing this because it's like, it's once again another example of just the horrible working conditions as an animator in Japan, and this once again gives like credibility to why there's just so much outsourcing, why you have so many different like, you know, companies and studios within Japan outsourcing their products to different animation studios around the world because they just don't have enough animators to work on their projects anymore. And that's
Here's also another insidious thought. I feel like outsourcing those works, the people that just working outsourced, I bet they get a lesser salary, man. I bet that it's in the company's best interest to hire cheap talent across the seas rather than paying them market rate, paying them something else. That's a common tactic that happens in corporate America.
what's happening. And as this continues to happen and more people just drop down like flies and not want to work on this anymore, you're going to have more issues. We're going to have
Her name is actually Yano. Okay. Actually, look at the tweet right over here. Akane Yano. The Reddit post is the one with the typo. My bad.
inconsistencies between episodes because of obviously outsourcing. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up. I hate to be the bearer of bad news about 100 Girlfriends, but I obviously I want to talk about this. This is definitely
Kind of feels guilty, huh? There's this like weird guilt that I feel because as we go watch 100 Girlfriends, we're all just gonna be having a fun time and laughing, and it's gonna be a fun time. But to know that like what was sacrificed to get that, maybe you could also imagine like, would you then want to ignore the sacrifice that they put into? It'd be like disrespectful not to enjoy, you know, what they had to endure to make this.
something that a lot of people should be aware of because I mean 100 Girlfriends is airing literally in less than a week from now, and a lot of people are excited. So maybe we should temper our expectations a little bit because of just this. Obviously, this could just be maybe a false alarm, but what like
Again, it'd be so amazing. This was just a PR stunt, a marketing campaign, where the tears won't stop and I can't draw. The countdown of despair has begun is ambiguous enough to assume that like she's really into the story and whatever happening in this arc that she's animating is still it's just so peak that she's trying and she can't draw. And I know there's the I want to be able to buy time from people who say they have free time, which kind of like implies that like they have no fucking time to, you know, finish this project. So it's probably not the case that I'm imagining, but ideally, you know, things are actually fine and this isn't a big deal, but who knows what's actually happening.
I said, and I've said it already a few times in this video, when you have someone so high up that is a chief animation director, that's not someone small. This is not just a regular animator or a freelancer. This is someone that's actively attached to the product and is in charge of the animation direction and stuff. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll leave it at that.
That's pretty much it. Just another Tuesday afternoon for the animation industry. Workers being worked to their fucking bones with an impossible deadline. And people having mental breakdowns on social media as like a cry for help, right? And the saddest thing is nothing changes until there's an actual rehaul of the system. And stuff like that doesn't just happen overnight, right? It's got to be like a fucking cultural movement. Japan needs stronger labor rights, right? They need like workers' rights. They need leverage. Because if there's no leverage for the workers to be able to negotiate for better pay, more time to work on these things, why would the corporate suits listen? Why would they give a fuck? Because right now they're scalping all the money and they're doing perfectly fine. Do they even care if the animation industry will implode in the future? I don't know. With the advent of AI, I'm sure they're drooling at the thought of getting rid of more workers so that one person with AI technology can basically do the work of 10 people. I'm not too sure. Here's the video though. Please go check out Chibi's video and his channel. Here's a link. I'll see you guys next time.